So let's talk about something huge. We live in this incredible world where you can sell your product to someone literally on the other side of the planet with just a few clicks. Global commerce, it's bigger, it's faster than ever. But here's the billion-dollar question, right? When a business in one country agrees to buy something from a business in another, who trusts who? How does the money actually move safely? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today, the really fascinating world of trade finance. I mean, just look at this. Every single one of those containers, that's a connection. It's a deal. It's a business taking a leap of faith to find a new customer. The opportunities out there are absolutely massive. The whole world is your marketplace. But each one of those containers also represents a fundamental risk. See, the exporter wants to get paid before they ship their goods, and the importer, well, they want to get the goods before they pay. It's a classic standoff. And that's the real kicker, isn't it? When your buyer is thousands of miles away, maybe they speak a different language, they operate under totally different laws. How do you bridge that gap of trust? How do you, as the seller, guarantee you're going to get paid? And how does the buyer know they'll get what they ordered? This is the central puzzle that trade finance was invented to solve. And believe me, these hurdles are no joke. We're talking about the very real fear of not getting paid by a foreign company, or getting buried in confusing, complicated paperwork. And maybe worst of all, having your cash, your lifeblood, tied up for months while your product is sailing across an ocean. It's enough to make anyone think twice about expanding. But what if you had a guide? A specialist who could step into the middle of the deal and act as a trusted third party. Someone who uses proven financial tools to just remove the risk for everybody. To see how this works in the real world, we're going to look at a modern trade finance advisory firm as our example. All right, let's put a name to our guide for this explainer. Trade Finance Solution Bangladesh, or TFSBD for short. They were founded back in 2016, and they had one really clear goal in mind: to give businesses the confidence and the security they need to trade all over the world. And I think their mission statement here really says it all. Their job isn't just about shuffling money around. It's about making the whole entire process simpler and safer. The keywords here are trusted, innovative, and simplify. They're all about taking the headache out of global trade so their clients can just focus on what they do best: running their business. So, the big question is, how do they actually do it? Let's open up the toolkit that they and others in this industry use to solve those deep-rooted problems of trust and cash flow. And we'll start with the absolute foundation of trade security. Okay, so let's demystify this. A letter of credit, or an LC, is basically a conditional promise from the importer's bank. It's the bank telling the exporter, hey, you ship your goods, you show us the correct documents proving you did everything right, and we guarantee you will get paid. This one document replaces the buyer's promise with a rock-solid bank's promise. And just like that, you have security. And it builds into a whole process. First, a firm like TFSBD helps structure the LC, making sure all the terms are fair and correct. Then, for an extra layer of security, they can arrange what's called an LC confirmation. That's where the exporter's own bank adds its guarantee on top. And finally, and this is huge, through LC discounting, they help exporters get their money almost immediately, instead of waiting 30, 60, even 90 days. For a company's cash flow, that is an absolute game changer. And the toolkit goes way beyond just the basic LC. It includes things like export finance and trade loans to help fund production in the first place. And crucially, document verification and compliance. Because in international trade, the paperwork is everything. One tiny mistake on a document can delay payment for weeks. So making sure every I is dotted and T is crossed is absolutely critical. But here's where things get really interesting. This isn't just about old-school banking anymore. The best advisors are bringing trade finance kicking and screaming into the 21st century. And this is where an innovative approach really starts to shine. I mean, this image just says it all, doesn't it? The old way of doing things meant stacks and stacks of paper, sending documents by international courier, and just a huge risk of human error. The new way? It's all digital. It's about moving from those slow manual processes to a smart, transparent platform. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. Think about it. Piles of manual paperwork become smart documentation. That slow, uncertain waiting game becomes real-time tracking. The high risk of a simple human mistake, that drops way down with automated compliance checks. It all adds up to transparency and security. And for any business, that means speed, efficiency, and most importantly, peace of mind. Okay, so they've got the tools, they've got the tech. But in the world of finance, that's only half the story, right? The other half, the most important half, is trust. Why should any business put their financial security, their entire deal, in an advisor's hands? And this is what it all comes down to. The entire operation has to be built on a foundation of integrity, honesty, and ethics. And look, these aren't just buzzwords on a website. They have to be the non-negotiable principles that guide every single transaction and every piece of advice. And if you want proof, here it is. You simply don't build a network of over 45 international banking partners without having a rock-solid reputation. This isn't just a big number. It shows the deep trust they've earned within the global financial community. It gives them reach. Of course, that kind of trust doesn't just appear overnight. It's built on experience. The leadership team here brings more than a decade of specialized expertise to the table. From their start back in 2016, they've grown into a key player, serving clients not just in Bangladesh, but all across the Asia-Pacific region. So let's pull all these threads together. What does this combination of financial tools, digital innovation, and deep, trusted expertise actually mean for a business? Well, it means those global ambitions you have are suddenly very, very much within reach. And you have to remember, behind all the tech and the financial instruments, there are real people, a dedicated team, led here by CEO and strategic lead MD Alul Karim Mughal. They're not just service providers, they're expert guides, ready to navigate all the complexities of global commerce right there with their clients. You know, their tagline really just nails it. It's not just about getting a deal done. It's about providing the trusted advice that lets businesses grow with confidence on the world stage. Now, that is a powerful promise. So here's the bottom line. Expanding into global markets is one of the biggest, most exciting steps a business can take. And the key takeaway here is that all those complex risks of international trade, they can be managed. The right partner with the right tools and the right expertise can make all the difference in the world. So the final question really is, who will you trust to help you take that leap?